The slides I'm going to show you are in this link on the left. And here on the right, there is a link to my current Canvas course space, which is should be visible at the institution level. I don't know what that means, and I don't know what you can actually see, but you know, it should help you. I need to tell you that my Canvas spaces always look like crap, and you should know that that is because I do not follow advice from the nice folks of DTI. They had nothing to do with the design of this. So please do follow their advice and use Jennifer's templates and so on. Those are awesome. But anyway, all right. So yeah, thank you, Maya. So I'm just gonna tell you. So I took this training last summer and implemented it last fall for the first time. And currently, right now, this summer too, I'm doing it for the second time. And I'm just going to tell you about the rubrics and assessments part today. If you want to talk, if you want to hear about great bundles or other things, you know, I'm happy to do that later offline. So this is a class for chem majors, and it has normally 100 in the fall, about half or less in the summer, and it's actually two classes in one. I won't go into the details. There is an actual math methods component, and then there is a scientific computing component, and they are separate. It's not that we go to a computer to illustrate what we did with the math. And so just for the purpose of this conversation, I'm just going to talk about the math part. I did the implementation of specs rating on both, and it's essentially the same, right? So at least the approach is the same. So I'm just going to tell you about the math part. The main components of, the main goals of that math methods part is just to present the math that the students need, that the chem majors need to be successful in upper division classes. And the reason for that is that chemistry has such a broad scope nowadays that students stop taking math in the math department after multivariable calculus. And there is a big gap between that and the math they need for the upper division class. And so it's up to the chem department to fill that gap. And that's happening everywhere in the country. So it's not only here, it's just a common thing. All right, so this was a class that I was already teaching. So let's see, there you go. So I actually redesigned it. And so because, it's sort of a survey class, so I use a module organization, and each module has its own set of learning objectives. And it may have more than one topic, but each module is assessed the same way. And the main assessment tool are homework assignments for the math part. And they all have the same structure. It's 3 problems, and each problem has multiple parts. And each problem covers one or more of the specific learning objectives of the module. And in addition to that, let's see, advance this, like that. There are these essential skills that will be assessed every single time, right? So this is the core of what, if the student passes the class, I can tell my colleagues teaching the upper division classes, they should know how to do the stamps because, I tested them every single time in them. But in addition to it, I should also tell you that every time that you see this black rectangle, it's because what is inside is what I give the students verbatim. So I'm quoting stuff that the students have. in addition to essential skills, then the students have also a list of specific skills for each module. That's an example of what the students get for a particular module called differential equations. And on the right, you have an example of an actual problem from a homework assignment. So this one has 4 parts, and it covers a specific learning objectives from this list and from the essential one. We have the problem. So we have the assignment. The assignment has 3 problems that are multi-part. Each problem has probably 4 or 5 questions. And there are then 2 levels of marks here. There are the marks per question, and those are where the actual where the actual rubric is, right? So the grader considers each question using 2 things: a detailed answer key that I compose, and where I tell them this is what you have to see if you want to give them full credit. It's related to this learning objective and so on. And then there is a general grading rubric, which I'll show you in a moment. It's general because it's common for all the questions. So it's not about the content of the question, it's about what that answer should be, should look like. So those are the assessment tools. And then you tally the marks for each question to give a mark for the whole problem. And that mark for the whole problem is what links to the grade bundle. So the students are counting the spends here: pass, in progress, unsatisfactory. You have to have so many to pass. You have to have so many pass to get an A, blah, blah, blah. That's what you will see if you look at my grade bundle, which I will show you right now. What I want to tell you a little bit more is about how to get the marks per question. And that is, well, okay, so these are details of how to do it, but let me, this is too much detail. Let me show you first what that general grading rubric looks like. So again, this is something that the students get at the very beginning, and that also the graders refer to. I'm just going to show you, right, because that's the key thing. The key thing is if a student gets full credit in a question, they don't have to think about it anymore. And so essentially, because this is a pencil and paper math, what the correct answer should be is a problem that has the actual answer, and that I can see all the steps you took to get that answer. So that's obviously a general requirement. That's what you would expect of any work with mathematical methods, right? And that's what I require the students to do. That will give them full credit, and whatever the other 2 levels are simply just derived from that, right? So you can get partial credit if you, it wasn't entirely correct what you did, or the procedure you presented was incomplete, etc. And if you don't even do that, then you get no credit. So you tally this credit, no credit marks. You tally it in a particular way, and then you get a mark pass, in progress, or unsatisfactory for the whole problem. Right? So and this, as I said, is what the students take to get their final grade. So where does how will we get to master it this way? Well, I'm going to assume, because I like to think that if the students present a complete answer to a problem, then they know what they're talking about. They know how to do it. So if they get full credit in a question, they're done. That's it. At least for that particular set of learning objectives. If not, then they can get some feedback from the grader and resubmit, redo that question. All right. So that's how we progress towards that mastery. And then, well, these are details you can look at on your own about how to compute things. There's a little bit more of detail on this notion of resubmitting work. We do this per problem. And so if you get a in progress mark in the problem, that automatically triggers a resubmission of whatever you need to rework. If you got an unsatisfactory, that means you got a lot of no credit marks, right? Because the progress in progress of satisfactory mark is just a tally of the actual marks per question. So if this happened, it means you didn't get it at all. So you need a new problem, right? And I try to intervene here. So if a student gets in progress, that's between them and their grader. I have nothing to do with it. If they get unsatisfactory, I get involved. And so I see what happened. I see perhaps the student didn't understand the problem. I ask the students to meet with me, etc. So we work together towards completing that unsatisfactory, because unsatisfactories are bad in this class. Now, all of these things happen only if they did work. If they didn't do work, they don't have opportunity to resubmit. All right, so just to conclude, I just want to show you an example of the details of how we implement this with actual Canvas tools. So all of this information that I just showed you, I just give to the students, and then, it's there. The documents that have all the words are there. Every single assignment is a Canvas assignment, and in particular, the distribution and the collection is through PDFs. Marks and feedback are on the Canvas rubric. I don't think you have access to this link. And I actually, it looks like did I make it an actual link? Let's see. I did. Oh, wonderful. Okay. So let me just show you an actual. Let me just go to what that was here. Because this is a me, of course. That makes sense. So that means that I won't be able to show you this time.
You want to open another browser and log in?
Yeah.
So this time.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, of course, I didn't think of that.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It means I'm gonna let me get my phone or what is.
Yeah. I probably need to.
Perfect. Sorry about that. Right. So, what is it that the student? Well, let me show you from the instructor side. The way we do this is that we, like I said, we distribute the assignment as Canvas as a PDF on a Canvas assignment. The student do their pencil and paper work, and they scan it somehow as a PDF, and that's what they submit. We set the rubric in the terms I explained to you already. Each question has a full credit, partial credit, no credit, and the whole problem has a mark passing, progress, and satisfactory. And we tell the students points are irrelevant; they're just for computation purposes, and do not ever worry about Canvas summary, numerical summaries. 18 out of 20, whatever total points, ignore that, it's irrelevant. Because it's PDF, it's easy, we can just look at it on a speed grader, and we open the rubric next to it. We check, we look for the problem. If the problem looks good, then we, if we can, see there, looks good. Give it full credit, move on. If it doesn't, if it's partial credit, do so. And as you can see here, I won't do it live, but you just type something in the comments. So when you click on here, then you have this little box, this little glove, and you can say, you didn't use the right units, so you got partial credit, and then of course you gotta save, and that remains there. And of course you should also give meaningful feedback. If you're going to give them no credit, it means their work simply no good. And so once you have done that and you have published, then once the grade is published, this is what the student sees. And the student can get all of that information right. And so the student sees this, and we had told them, well, you got to resubmit this thing. You have this many days. If it's unsatisfactory, then you got to retake it. So that's the whole process, and that's how we use the Canvas rubric, right? So, it's a little bit similar to the examples you have here in your own materials. But anyway, so I think that's all let me go back.
Real PowerPoint.
Okay. Thank you, Megan.
Oh, go back. Click on back.
Thank you, Megan. Yeah, that's all I have. I just want to make sure, just very quickly, these two guys were I like to call my TAs co-instructors, and they are the actual, this idea of using this rubric. I probably discussed it with these two people, with my support team, but I had no idea what a Canvas rubric was. So these guys, they did it on their own. Of course, here I am taking credit for that. And so these two people, my peer coach during the training, and Bo Choi were instrumental on getting this thing started. All right. Thanks for your attention.
I have a question. So when the students, so if the work is unsatisfactory, and you said that you have to do both, so you have like 100 students in the class. So how many would get? It seems like a lot of communication and work around it. Like deciding who gets the second chance to take the assignment.
You want to know how we managed to?
Yeah.
So how do they tell us? I want to.
I guess in terms of the percentage, what percentage of the class were those students that required that, and how difficult was it to manage?
Right.
Take?
Yeah. So I don't think I counted the number of unsatisfactories and in progress that we got performed. But most definitely, we didn't get too many unsatisfactories because the way it's tallied. The cutoffs are such that to get an unsatisfactory in the whole problem means that you really didn't get it at all, and yet you worked on it, right? So that doesn't happen often. What does happen, with certain frequency is that the problem isn't complete, it's a past problem, it's an in-progress problem. That will happen at least for to each student at least once or twice during the whole term. And we established communication links through one of these discussion boards. We use ED discussions, and they just tell us, I'm going to submit problem 2, and they do that with a particular tag in ED discussions, and when we check that, and then we go back, they go to the same assignment page, right? And upload the resubmission, we look at it. Did they do what they have to do? We change the grade.
So the TAs essentially had to regrade everything twice, right? Like
If there is any progress, the good thing is that the second time you only have to look for did they follow the feedback I gave in the first time. It's the new work there. It's what they need. Yes, just change the grade. So that process is fairly quick. I speak from experience because I did some of it, so that I could speak with knowledge of it. Yes. The unsatisfactory business, the new problem, that's a little bit more work, and that's the reason why I take it over myself.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. So I have a retrospective and a prospective question. So I guess I'm not sure if you described it, but what was it like before this past year you did it? And then the prospective question is then what would you do differently next time you offer it?
Yeah. So yes, thanks for that. It's interesting that you asked that because this grading rubric was there before. It's not, I didn't come up with for specifications, but I was using it before. So the problems were similar. They were a little bit, so the problems nowadays, because because we have to do specifications grading, then they are more detailed than we were before. But this thing was already there. It just so happens that I had a lot of elements like this, and then right. So I was looking for a nice partner, and as soon as I made a specification, I said, "I've been looking for you all my life." So there was a lot of elements there in my design. Teaching is always as oh God, I'm so sorry. Is it Emily? As Emily was, in Emily Navarro's famous words, teaching is a constant experiment. I hope you're quoting you correctly. Teaching is always an experiment. So there's always things to fix. Right now, what am I thinking right now? What do I want to fix right now? I want to see, so I did it once. It was very successful in terms of the students' performance. I want to see what happens in the summer, which is the abbreviated schedule, right? So I did it over 10 weeks, a long time. So compared to the summer. So I think it worked for the 10 weeks. So now I'm waiting to see if it works for the 5 weeks, and then I'll let you know.
Thank you.